She then Nick actually responds to the dirty message in a positive way.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're sweet.
Do you want to hang out tonight?"
Yeah.
And she says, "Yeah, that sounds cool." And she goes back home, all while still being in trouble for stealing the car.
Mm-hmm.
She goes home. Her mom is still at work, apparently, and she gets ready for this date.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be the date of dates, right?
Yeah.
She meets she then meets Nick later that night, basically to mess around, or that's what he thinks.
Yeah. She's kind of just like, oh, like I'm on like a date or whatever with the man of her dreams.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Mona, her mother, comes home and sees that she's kind of fucked up the house, getting ready, and left everything, and kind of avoided running into her mom, so she wouldn't be kind of grounded and not be able to do the date. And then her mom kind of freaks out and starts.
That's when she calls the brother.
Yeah, and she's putting all her stuff in trash bags, and she's like, "It's all gone.
It's going to Goodwill. Yeah, it's all going." She's grabbing everything off of her drawer. She's like, "What is this?" And it's like 3 pairs of headphones. She's like, "Who needs this?" And throws it in the bag. And the brother, she calls the brother, and he's basically he's like, calm down. What's going on? And so he leaves this, I guess, this date or whatever that he's on with the best friend. And he comes back home, and then she's like, what's going on? Well, I'll take care of this. He's trying to calm her down because she's freaking out. She's just throwing everything in the bag, and he's like, stop.
And you then kind of see the pressure that the brother Darian is really going through.
Yeah, because
and that
of the mom.
his life really isn't perfect either. He's just as affected as Nadine. It's just that she's at that time too selfish to really understand that.
He does a good job too, as well as hiding it.
Yeah,
not really. He's putting on this facade of being like everything's perfect in his life, nothing bothers him, and later on you find out that he feels as much pressure as she does. Yeah.
So, cutting back to Nick and Nadine, they kind of pull. He takes her out this kind of desolate area, and you see the headlights shine on this it's like a container, right, that they're parked outside of, and it says like disposable waste.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I never noticed that before, but that's kind of foreshadowing what's about to happen, because it's like, why would you take a girl there?
Yeah,
that's not romantic at all. You doucher. So yeah, in Nick's mind, he thinks he's going to get laid because of that message, and he's basically taken this girl out to get some quick action. I guess she thinks that because she wrote all this stuff that she's easy, and so they start to make out and stuff, and when things get too crazy, because Nadine's inexperienced in that way, she freaks out, and she's like, hey, let's go to a movie, or let's go for a walk, or do something else, and get to know each other. And he's kind of not feeling it, and he gets kind of upset. And then she tries again to kind of meet in the middle ground, and so they start making out and stuff. And then he tries to go
feeling up on her more again.
And then she freaks out, and so
he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah, he's like,
"You're so confusing." He's like, "I don't understand." He's like, I should have listened to my friends. He's like, "They said you were fucking crazy." And then
and she that doesn't go over too well with her, obviously, and she says I guess she's not a fan of the car. What is it, a Mercury? She says, I hope you get in I hope you hit a tree on this piece of shit. I hope you
become paralyzed.
And she runs away.
And that's when she calls her Mr.
Brunner.
Brunner, yeah.
So we find out that Nick is a douche and not what all he's cracked up to be. Obviously, which is pretty cool. A pivotal moment, I think.
Definitely.
So Brunner picks up Nadine, where she finds out that he actually has a family of his own that he hadn't told her about. He has a kid and a pretty attractive wife.
Yeah.
Which I guess she thought he just probably lived alone and was a lonely.
Yeah, because earlier in the movie, she says she's like, nobody likes you. You're just a bald, angry guy that who's alone and and she's basically just trying to poke at him in every single way that she can. And then later on, she finds out that he has a kid,
perfect family.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's kind of like a plot device for her awakening, saying like, oh, not everything's as it seems, or I shouldn't assume so much, or I'm kind of naive in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't know everything about life, because teenagers at that point, they think they know everything.
Yes.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Get ready, man.
Oh yeah.
It's coming.
Can't
soon.
wait.
What else do we got? So the brother, Darian, comes to pick her up at the teacher Brunner's house, and him and Nadine get into it because she doesn't want to take the ride, and she says, your life's so perfect. You have no idea what I'm going through or the pressure of everything. Like, I don't want to go home with you. And then
and she basically, and then I think she also says like, you don't really even care about me. You're like, why are you even here? Basically.
So he doesn't. He starts to leave, and then he comes back to confront her, and he says, "You know what? I don't give a shit about you, and my life is perfect, and I really can't complain about anything. That's why I have to, I have to constantly look out for this family, and and then I finally meet the person that kind of lets me take a breath, and someone I can confide in, and I can't have them without completely destroying you." And that's him kind of letting Nadine know that he has this, that his life
a huge
isn't,
weight on his shoulders that he's carrying around.
That his life isn't perfect because he's met this who he thinks is possibly his soulmate, which also happens to be Nadine's best friend. Yeah. And Nadine doesn't want them to kind of, I guess, be. She doesn't want to be involved in everything. Yeah. So then there's this kind of wall up. That's hurting the family, it's hurting the mother, it's hurting the brother.
He even says, I love applying to nearby schools because
if I leave, then this family will fall apart even more.
Yeah. So basically, he's kind of, he feels like he's stuck. Like if he leaves, then the whole house is going to fall apart and everyone's going to, kill each other, basically.
And so after that, she kind of comes home. Brunner gives her a ride, and she goes to Darian's bedroom, and they she kind of apologizes, and says, "You know what? Like, I'm sorry. I realized that I've been too hard on you," and they kind of forgive each other. I think at that moment, that's what that represents. And so the next morning, Nadine comes down, and Krista's there with Darian cooking breakfast, and she's like a totally different person. Yeah. And she's accepted the relationship and wants to kind of coincide together. And Krista's really excited about it and says, "Oh, can I call you later?" And they kind of rekindle their friendship too. So they close out that kind of subplot, and then Nadine heads to the school to catch her friend Erwin's
student
film. And that goes really well, and she realizes that it's an animated short, and the woman or at least she thinks is the woman portrayed in the film is actually representing her, and her kind of being blind to the fact that he wants her, he wants to be with her, and she didn't care. And so at the end of the film, you see it cuts to them in the hallway, and you know how everybody kind of gets together to talk about what they just saw. And she says, "You know what? I'm dumb. You're like this amazing person. I'm so sorry that it took me, so long to realize it, but I realize it now." And he looks at her with this kind of blank stare.
I like when she's like, "Oh, and I know that the girl in the movie is me, and I'm sorry."
And he looks at her with this blank stare and says, "Oh, it's not about you. It's not you."
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm one of those assholes who thinks everything's about them."
And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm just messing with you. It really was about you."
Yeah.
Oh man, and so that kind of represents them.
Yeah.
Kind of starting their romantic thing.
Yeah, and then that's when he pulls. He's like, "Oh, I want to introduce you to these people," and it's his friends.
And you kind of see her shy away, like she thinks she's not wanted, and he
pulls her in.
He's like, "This is Nadine," and and then she kind of hits it off with everybody.
Yeah, and the end.
That's the end.
Yeah,
it's a pretty cool movie.
Yeah, it is. It's like you said, it's a really good coming of age movie, and it hits a lot of those points basically of growing up, and
it's just hugely relatable.
Yeah, very relatable.
I think so. Filled and it's filled with perfect moments, perfect dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah,
Hans Zimmer composed it,
which is crazy when you pointed that out.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
The art direction is amazing. I think Hailee's style in this is awesome.
Yeah, that jacket's dope.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And their high tops throughout, always with the new kicks, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just an awesome movie, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope you guys, we've inspired you to watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
I know Vic was interested. I think he looked up the trailer. He hadn't heard about it.
Really?
Yeah, at all. He had no idea what I was talking about. So I hope I inspire them to watch it. Yeah. Him and Gene.
That'd be cool.
And of course, everyone else.
And hopefully we can talk to him about it, man.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I actually queued up a little Jimmy Fallon interview.
Okay.
On the Tonight Show.
Oh yeah.
With Hailee.
Nice.
You want to check it out?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Let's do it.
I want to talk about your movie, Edge of 17. Rave reviews. I want to say it's 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if you look at those things, but we do. But it's crushing. It's sad, but it's really funny. And it's tough being a teenager, being a 17-year-old. You're in this with Woody Harrelson, who plays your history teacher.
Yes.
And I could just tell, he's just an easy guy to get along with. He's super fun.
Oh, my goodness. Honestly, thank God we developed such a natural banter between the two of us, because I really feel like that came through on screen. We had the best time together. He kept me on my toes the entire time.
You could tell you guys liked each other because it's such a great rapport you guys have. But you were telling me that you guys broke a lot, like when you were doing the scenes and laughed.
There was one specific scene where, for whatever reason that day, I don't know if it had just all caught up to us in that moment, but I have never seen a human's face more red in my life. He was laughing so hard, and I was laughing so hard. It was the best thing, but also the worst thing, because you're like, we are making no progress here, but we're having fun.
Sometimes you get a case of the giggles. I mean, I wouldn't know anything about that, but I do want to show, we actually have a little blooper reel.
Do you?
Yeah, of you and Woody, and it's really, really cute. Here's Hailee Steinfeld and Woody Harrelson struggling to keep it together on set. The Edge of 17, check this out, it's funny.
No, I was too,
Here we go. You're gonna crush this.
Shut up.
Once you start laughing, it's hard to stop laughing. Now I want to show everyone the real clip from that scene. Please enjoy. Take a look.
Yesterday when you were giving your lecture, you were like, oh, then me more